There are a few ways to lay out my playoff predictions, whether it's a lock, contender, on the cusp, and just looking in system, or a possible 1 through 16 seeds, or even a percentages-based system, which I considered, but instead I'll go briefly by teams. And I decided to do this way because as the teams run, it's pretty easy to classify how the whole season runs by how a few of the teams run as a whole. First up, we have Hendrick Motorsports. The last 2 seasons have seen success for all 4 of the Hendrick Motorsports cars. While all 4 Hendrick cars haven't made the playoffs for 3 consecutive seasons, since 2012 through 2014. But there was always a fading driver or a new driver in the years since. And with this 3rd season of the same driver lineup, I believe that success company-wide from the last few years will continue. And all 4 teams will make the playoffs. Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson will continue competing for championships, while William Byron and Alex Bowman will compete for wins and be fringe players for and during the round of 8. Next up, I'll talk about another Chevrolet team, one that'll be the number 2 Chevy team behind Hendrick, and that's going to be Richard Childress Racing. While RCR will have more speed, as this will apply with all the Chevrolet teams, but Chevy was able to change and improve their nose for this year, after Chevy already was the fastest cars on track almost every single week in 2022. This will mean that top Chevy teams will maintain the advantage they had on the field, or increase that advantage. While I see RCR having winning speed in 2023, it'll be from the newcomer, Kyle Busch. A Kyle Busch that's out to prove he's still one of the best drivers to ever get behind a wheel is a Kyle Busch that's going to win several races. The 8 car had great speed last year, and I believe Kyle Busch will elevate that team and bring some good change and synergy that both RCR and Kyle want and need, and we'll see the 8 car back in victory lane and back in the round of 8 this season. While the other RCR car of Austin Dillon, I predict will finish 13th to 15th in points, but he will miss the playoffs as a second driver out without a win.
It was a video game move off into turn 3. He put the car against the wall wide open all the way around turn 3 and 4.
Chastain, Elliott, Bell, and Logano are going to fight for a championship in Phoenix. Take a look at what he did.
Next up, we have Trackhouse Racing, the storybook team of Trackhouse Racing. While some were shocked by the performance of Trackhouse in 2022, they won't be surprising anybody this year. While I won't foresee a Championship 4 appearance, I believe both Trackhouse cars will compete for wins, and most likely each win a race or 2, and both Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez will make the playoffs again this year. Switching manufacturers to the leading Ford team, we go to Penske Racing, which last year the team capitalized the most on opportunity in 2022, with Joey Logano and Austin Cindric's Daytona 500 win. But the driver that had the most speed all year, and for all of Ford, was the 12 of Ryan Blaney. And for Blaney, and later in the video, Martin Truex Jr., they were just in a kind of cursed season that was 2022. But with 2023, Blaney's speed he had all last year will pay dividends. Blaney wins 2 to 4 races and competes for the championship, while Joey Logano wins a race and makes the playoffs as well. But for the 2 car, Austin Cindric does not make the playoffs, giving Penske 2 cars in the playoffs and missing with Austin Cindric.
Hell, you made my job easy. I know you don't like to hear these things, but you're the flagship at SHR.
He's going to do it. He's going to win the race and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship. California's Kevin Harvick does it.
Over to the fallen giant, that is Stewart-Haas Racing, and I do not see the giant awakening. 2023 will see a mixed bag for them. The overall performance and the standings for the whole team will improve this year. Newcomer Ryan Preece will take advantage and improve from Cole Custer's 25th place in the standings last year. But SHR won't be where it needs to be, and Ryan Preece will be the second best SHR car, but miss the playoffs. As only one SHR car makes the playoffs, and it'll be Kevin Harvick, will be the only playoff driver for SHR in 2023, in Kevin Harvick's farewell year. Let's jump back to a Chevy team. A team that'll be very interesting to watch, but still has plenty of room to grow. And with the return to full-time in the Cup Series, Kaulig Racing's AJ Allmendinger will give Kaulig Racing its first Cup Series playoff appearance. AJ will get enough points from the road courses and from just being competitive and earn a 7th to 11th place points position and make the playoffs if he doesn't win a race. But he'll be the only Kaulig Racing car to make the playoffs. Our first Toyota team, 2311's team, will continue to grow. Getting Tyler Reddick will be a huge step. Tyler Reddick will win a couple races and contend for the championship 4. But the team will just miss having both cars make the playoffs. My initial prediction is that Bubba just misses but wins a playoff race, and I'm going to stick to that. Now on to another Toyota team, Joe Gibbs Racing. With playoff spots running out, you may wonder, how many Gibbs cars do I have in the playoffs? Well, this is a hot take. Only 2 of them. And those 2 will be Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. So why no Christopher Bell? Well, let's look at Christopher Bell's last 3 wins last year. New Hampshire. Martin Truex Jr. was dominant, won both stages, and got goofed on pit strategy, and at the end was still better on the older tires he had. This year I'd give that win back to Truex. The Roval. NASCAR absolutely gifted that win to Bell, or whoever would have ended up winning that race after the sign for a caution. Then Martinsville. While he did have speed, and later strategy unfolded with him having tires and then drive up to take that win. But if he's not in the round of 8, like he wouldn't have been, the strategy and situation is different, and I'll go on a limb to say he doesn't win that race. While I do believe Bell is capable of winning plenty of races, I'm going back to these 2 principles. Toyota, I believe, won't be as competitive in 2023. And races Christopher Bell is in contention to win are won by Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex instead, leaving Christopher Bell just short and missing the playoffs. And my final 2 playoff spots will go to both newly named team drivers of Legacy Motor Club. Eric Jones I'm huge on. I would buy stock on him. He had tons of speed consistently last year and was only held back by the team's growth, and this year will improve and have continued success. While rookie Noah Gragson is a huge step up from Ty Dillon, he will show glimpses of winning speed. And again, I predicted he'd win a race somewhere, and I'll stick to that prediction, and that'll leave the playoff picture like this.